Oh, bro. Sorry. Literally moments ago, I was on the way home from my school, and my route home takes me through Farragut Square, right? Like I do the Farragut crossing. If anyone isn't aware of that, in DC, there are these stations, Farragut North and Farragut West, and you can switch from different train lines. And you walk through a square. It's a cute little place. I've been there when the weather was nicer. A little park with benches and walkways and a big statue of some dude who I don't know anything about. Right? Typical DC stuff. But I was walking through, just simply talking to myself about things, and I had a revelation about myself that I honestly felt compelled to share. And it started with me talking about our connection to the spiritual realm. I think in this day and age, it would be ignorant to say that there is no divine, spiritual, invisible source of power. You know, we've given this source of power many names just so we can understand it, comprehend its existence, right? And for me, that name that I call it is God, but I also refer to it as the universe. I digress. The thing about belief is that it is essentially a confidence in the existence of the invisible, right? For example, it is hard for us, it is hard for us to believe in certain things that aren't currently present in the physical realm. Now, I believe there are two realms. There's the physical, and then there's the theoretical or the spiritual realm, whatever you want to call it. The theoretical realm encompasses feelings, emotions, anything spiritual, anything spiritual, and theoretical things like the future and the past. Now, the thing about us is that we are not omnipresent. You know, time isn't linear for the divine beings, whoever they might be, whatever they might be. For us, we are stuck in a moment called the present moment. And because of that, the past and future isn't physically real to us. If it were, our brains would probably explode. We can't comprehend that stuff, right? But I brought up emotions and I brought up belief because belief is an emotion. When you believe in something, you feel intensely sure and confident about it occurring or about this happening. You know, if you're a great basketball player, you feel very confident in you and your team's ability to win, even though that's about 2 hours in the future. You can't say what's going to happen. Confidence isn't a knowledge of what's going to happen. It's our emotions manifesting this thing into the physical realm. That's why you see people with confidence seem to just always succeed effortlessly, because they have used confidence, again, used emotion, which is the connection to the theoretical, and kind of pulled that down and created it in the physical realm. And that's why emotions are so important, right? That's why it's important to feel. And that's why people always say, oh, if you live in a negative world, if you live in negativity, you'll live in a negative world, right? Because that's the world you're creating. You are using your connection to the spiritual realm to create the things that you see. And no, this isn't saying we have spiritual powers and I created this phone. No, it's just for months, I had been tired of my stupid broken phone that was covered in cracks on both sides, was freezing, half the keyboard wouldn't work, right? I had become so fed up with it that in turn, down went my confidence in this phone and up went my belief that I'm going to get a new phone. And all of a sudden I found myself in Brooklyn and I was outside an AT&T store and my dad was like, yo, just go switch your phone. Go upgrade it because it's free. We paid off the phone bill and it's free. And yes, it took time. Everything takes time, right? Everything takes time. And I think we have to understand that entering this conversation. But I wanted to talk about emotions because I have a tryout coming up, right? It's a walk-on tryout from a university. It is the very thing that I moved to DC months ago for, right? I could have just stayed at home in New Orleans. I could have just stayed at home, taken a gap year, gotten a job, and just played a bit more soccer, right? But I felt within my heart, okay, I have to go to DC. I went to DC, and over the last few months, I have grown exponentially into the person that I am today, and I am on an upward trajectory. Sorry, pardon my English. Simply because I believed in myself, and I believed in this opportunity. Now, I thought this opportunity was going to come in November, but it got pushed back a couple months, thankfully, because I wasn't ready, right? But now I am ready. I decided this moments ago, before making this video. I wanted to talk about that. Because one of the biggest themes in my life that had followed me around was fear. I had been scared of the unknown, scared of things I can't control, scared of this, that, or the other happening. You know? And that same fear had restrained me. It's almost as though I had wrapped my arms around myself to stop myself from succeeding. The fear came from within me. I used this feeling to manifest failure into my life. And I hadn't even been noticing it. And over the last few months, my faith in God and the divine, in the Holy Spirit, in the universe, whatever you want to call it, has grown so much because over and over I told myself, let it go, right? Let it go. Let God control it. Let him control all of it. And recently, going into the days nearing this tryout, which is in less than 3 days, right? And this is the tryout that I came here for, right? This is the thing that my whole risk coming to DC is banking on. I'm literally homeless, living on people's couches because of this, right? Because of this goal that I have in mind. Because I decided I'm going to achieve this. Now, I felt myself getting more nervous, right? I felt myself getting scared at the thought of this trial being so close. Because for months, I've just been used to it being some point in the distant future. I don't know when it is, but whenever it is, I'll be ready. But now that moment is coming. The pressure's on, right? And I've been telling myself, let God be in control of it, right? Just go out there, do your best. But these are the same things I've been telling myself for 2 years since I started really believing in God. Same exact thing I've been telling myself. And albeit those things got me to where I am right now, my path would have been a lot different. Not saying I want it to be, but it would have been a lot different if I had recognized this earlier. I had surrendered the things out of my control a long time ago, right? And I can feel this confidently within me, Oftentimes, I knew when I wasn't surrendering, right? Because I would say it and I'd be like, oh, I surrendered. No, I didn't. But for the first time in my life, I can feel that I have genuinely given up the false sense of control instilled upon me by my own ego over the things that I have no control over. And I realized telling myself these things, right? Telling myself to let go, telling myself to surrender these things to the universe, they sounded redundant. I had heard these things a million times from myself, from videos that I watched, trying to instill this within myself. And I realized I knew this and I've done it. So why was I scared? I was scared of myself, right? There are two categories in life. Things you have control over, things you don't have control over. Thing you have control over, yourself, your thoughts, emotions, and actions. Things you don't have control over, literally everything else in the universe. I had given all that up. I was fooling myself into thinking that I didn't because I didn't know where this fear came from. But I realized I was scared of myself underperforming. I didn't trust myself, right? And I say didn't instinctually. I didn't even notice that. Instinctively, whatever. I didn't even notice that because I've genuinely changed that mindset. Because again, you can change like that. It just takes a choice. Just like fear is a feeling, belief is also a feeling. And you can choose whenever you want to invoke those feelings because they're in your control. But I digress. Because I had seen myself in the past restrict myself with fear, restrict myself with doubt, with lack of belief, low self-esteem my whole life, I was scared that I was going to do it again. I was truly scared that I was going to mess up my big chance, my goal, the thing that I came to DC to do, the thing that I enrolled into college to do, that I've been putting up with this questionable college just for the sake of joining their soccer team. I was scared that I was going to blow it. Doesn't that sound a little silly? I was scared of myself. And you have to really speak these things or write these things. And imagine someone else saying these things to you to truly grasp the absurdity of this concept. I imagine my friend telling me, "You're literally scared. Why are you afraid of yourself?" It makes no sense. I put all this pressure on me to succeed, right? Because, okay, this moment does have a little bit of pressure, right? Again, it's what I came here to do. It's what I've been working hard towards all of these months for. It is the North Star that has guided me to becoming the person that I am today, which I'm very proud of, truth be told. But for some reason, I didn't trust myself. And that's simply because I was choosing not to. In the moments where I had the chance to kind of show myself off, succeed, and just play well, I chose not to, simply because fear seemed to be easier. But I decided I'm not playing this game anymore. I wrote a poem recently, and it's funny because this poem was inspired by the song Dawn Chorus by Tom York, and I hope I can find it. Here we are. I'll read it to close this off. It's called The Paradox of Man. Get up, push in the chair. Quit the game while you still have the chance. We play for our whole lives, never once looking up to see the vacant seat across the table. We are guinea pigs running endlessly on a wheel manufactured with our very own hands. A prison of our own design, we see the light, but let it fade. Yet, lose no hope. We made this game, perpetuated this loop. Who's to say we can't stop playing it? What stops us from stepping off the wheel but our own selves? Free yourself from yourself. Let the light flow into your chest. Burst forward, never turning back. And I wrote this poem a couple of nights ago without even realizing truly what I was saying and how it applied to me. Because the one reason everyone tells you to let go is because our ego, our primitive mind, right? Those are wrapped into what I forgot the author's name, but he wrote The Inner Game of Tennis. That's what he calls the self too. Right? It's our ego's attempt to have complete control over everything. And it took me so long to get rid of that false sense of control over my external surroundings. And once I got rid of that, my ego latched on to the only thing it had left, which was me. It tried to control me because I had let go of everything else a while ago. And if I'm the only one participating in this game, if I'm choosing to give in to fear, I can just as easily stop. Literally in that instant. minutes before making this video, I chose to stop. It's not like a habit. Feelings aren't like a habit. You don't have to stop choosing to feel them every day and then get consistent at it. No. You just choose to stop. Right? It doesn't get easier unless you want it to. I don't know. But you control yourself. And some of us, like me, are so wrapped up in our own fear that we have to tell ourselves every day that we can achieve it. And that's what I've been doing. I've slowly been cutting the cord, and I finally broke free. Anything is possible, because that's what's in the theoretical realm, possibility. Everything exists in this moment. We just have to use our connection, our emotions, our feelings to draw it into the physical realm. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.